Mic check 1 2 1 2. We are back. Hi, welcome to 38 days till I turn 40. And today we're going to talk about how sometimes you have to look at your past to understand where you are and where you're going. Being raised, born and raised in the county of Dade has always been my thing, has always been my slogan. It's what we say for those of us that are from Miami. So whenever anyone asks me wherever I'm traveling from, or even here in Vienna, oh, Dav, where are you from? I'm from the county of Dade, 305, baby. Now, I mean, it means a lot, obviously, because we're not just from Florida. We're from Miami. That right there in itself holds, it treasures. It holds a lot of memories and history and traditions. Now, being Haitian from Miami, we're our own little community. And now, even within that community, within being in Miami, being in America, my mother always, she was just like, you in this world, but you're not part of this world. And so we were held at different standards. Again, Haitian immigrants that fled their home to come to Miami, had us, me and my siblings, and raising us in this foreign land. And one thing my mom was determined to do was she was determined for us to be successful in whatever we choose. Granted, my mother wanted us to be a lawyer, a doctor, or a pastor. And I think just like any other island parent, even African parents, I'm always hearing similar things from Nigerian parents. You know, from my Nigerian friends, are like, "Hey, my mom, engineer this," and so we have similarities, so very much similarities, and knowing just kind of like the foundation my mom like packed in us, and it's what helped me become who I am today. Now, mind you, one thing I've always told my mother, or just people in general, like when they have kids or even friendship, is like you're not the author of their story. God is. God has already written out our plan for us. Now there's some bumps and stuff along the way. But at the end of the day, we are books that our parents read, but of course, Haitian parents don't think like that. Haitian parents is children are to be seen, not heard. You do what I say, not what I do. You don't talk back. You don't have a word in this. If we're emotions, what are emotions? What is that? What, it's just like we growing up, we couldn't have emotions, and so whenever I had a conflict, even as an adult, even like I look back now in my adolescent years, even when I had a conflict, I just shut down. I would just shut down and not say anything because I kind of felt like it wasn't my right to say anything. And so it's like such at a young age, and then I think also because the way my mother was raised, it was just like as a woman, like you should kind of like know your place. But we broke rules. I'll tell you right now, one thing I definitely did was break rules. I questioned just about everything. My mom side-eyed me a couple of times, several times growing up, and it was just so many times I would ask certain questions and she was just like, it was like so profound that she was like, so at this age you're asking me these questions because you're curious. Because I was curious about so many things and I needed to understand why. She always compared me to my brothers because she was like, your older brother, I would ask him, to do something. He'll do it, but he'll be upset while doing it. Versus my second brother, he'd happily do it, no problem, whatever mommy say, I'm gonna do. And me, why I gotta do it? Why? For me, it wasn't like why I gotta do it, am I gonna do it? But I needed to understand why I'm doing a certain task. Once I got the understanding, I did it happily. There was no, rhyme or reason for it, but I was just like, I need to know. And so I definitely went into this world very, very, very curious. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, curiosity killed the cat. Well, baby, listen, satisfaction brought him back and back and back. Okay, so many of my questions, so much of my curiosity has been answered, and I have lived and continue to seek and continue to like search for and like look at things a certain way because there is not just one way, there's not one rule to live your life. There's so many other ways. There's so many other ways, and actually to get to a different destination, to get to a same destination, but we take different routes. But at the end of the day, I truly believe that we all need each other, in our gifts to get to the place that we need to get to help each other out. Now, as I started, we have to look back at our foundation sometimes to understand, why are we the way we are? Why do I do this like that? And is it okay? And my upbringing was faith based, very religious. I couldn't wear dress. I couldn't wear dresses. I couldn't wear skirts. I couldn't wear pants because my mom's reasoning was funny story. My mom's reasoning, I think as I got older, I don't know, I'm feeling sickly, but we're not claiming that. As I got older, I questioned my mom. I was just like, why I can't wear pants? Why I always gotta wear, a skirt or a dress, whatever. And she was just like, well, pants are for boys, and skirts and dresses are for girls. And of course, me, I think I was like 8, 9 years old, 10 even. I was like, Jesus wore dresses. And of course, you don't respond back to a Haitian parent, not a Haitian mom at least. And so she gave me a look, and I was like, all right, cool, it's time for me to walk away. I get it. But eventually, I remember in high school, I would wear, I would sneak my sister's pants, because my sister wore pants. I would sneak my sister's pants and like put it in my backpack and go to school. Just so I could wear pants. But this was my senior year at that point, because I was just like, I'm 16, about to go 17. I'm grown. I'm good. We're not grown. You're not grown. Okay. But and I mean that was, I think, it was literally the religious background of not being able to wear pants. Like, I didn't wear earrings. My first ear piercing was after I graduated high school. I was going to college, and my best friend, no, actually, I was already in college, and I came down. My current best friend now, and I was just like, girl, let's go to the mall and get my ears pierced. And I think I was like 19 years old. And I remember I told my mom, like, yeah, mom, I'm getting my ears pierced. And she was just like, well, what did God say? I said, God said, yeah, because she raised us biblically. She raised us, you know, I think she raised us strictly, but then as we got older, there were a lot of things that we grew up with, and it's just like, that ain't what the Bible said, and I implore people to read the Bible for themselves to get, what you need to get out of that. And so I told her, I was like, well, yeah, Jesus said, yeah, and then my reasoning was, and because I did read it, and it was just like Jesus dressed Jerusalem in jewels, and I of course need to go back and double check like the everything is clear. And I was like, Jesus dressed Jerusalem in jewels, and the reason, not Jesus, sorry, God dressed Jerusalem in jewels, and the reason God got upset was because Jerusalem started worshiping the jewels and not Jesus and not God, the one that gave it to him. And so my thing is always in anything, and I mean I'm grateful for it, anything that I do, or like I don't have an addictive personality, and so I'm just, if I try something, if I do something, like I don't need to wear jewelry. I don't need to wear earrings. Do I like to? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Do I need to? No, I can walk out the house. I'm still me. Nothing about the accessories do anything for me. And I think that's partly because of the way my mom raised us. Simply, like, I think the only jewelry she wore was her wedding ring. Now she wear watches, and I don't even know she got a bracelet. Um, and that also goes back to the pants. I remember my first year after I graduated college, I ain't had not one dress, not one skirt. Just as a form of rebellion, I bought like the tightest pants and the jeans, and that's all I wore for like a good year and a half. And then, or if I wore a skirt, of course, like a mini skirt or whatever. But like now, listen, I'd rather wear a dress than a skirt any day. They're just so much more comfortable. And I mean, I just feel like dresses now, like they're just so regal, they're just nice and float. Like it's just something about it. And so all of that kind of like made me who I became. Like first I rebelled against it. I hated it. And now I'm seeing a reason behind it. And I tell mom too, like, because we're back and forth in communication, and she's just like, the way I raised y'all, because I didn't know any better. I said, it's not that you didn't know any better, but you did the best you could with what you had in the situation that you had. You just led your country. You know what I'm saying? You married my dad, had us, and so you were raised in this generation where it was, you had to work to survive, obviously. You made a family, you served your husband in a sense, you served, like, you took care of the kids, and you was doing all that stuff while working, and All this stuff is going on. And so, of course, you want to keep us in the right path, and you don't want us to veer to the left or right. And so, of course, my mom was very straightforward. Like, we'd be waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning to pray right before school. We all used to hate it, but I'm so grateful for it now. Because what do? Because I know at certain times I'm just like, Lord, it's just me and you. Before all the traffic, before all the noise, before all that other stuff, it's just me and you. And if my mother didn't do that, I wouldn't have had that foundation. It's in the Bible. Train up a child as they should go. So when they leave your house, they ain't gonna flee far from it. All right, I'll probably add that verse. But honestly, that's so many little things now. I look, oh y'all, I gotta go.